Hi, I'm Bonnie. For 35 years, I've lived in my cozy craftsman on Maple Street, lovingly decorating every inch to reflect my personality. The vintage floral wallpaper in the dining room was from my mother's house. The oak cabinets in the kitchen I'd refinished myself. Every paint color, every fixture, each had a story. "You're really leaving your house for 3 weeks?" my son David asked over coffee before my departure. His voice carried that slight edge of concern he'd developed since my husband passed. "It's the biggest pharmaceutical conference of the year," I said, stirring my tea. "Besides, I've traveled alone plenty of times." "I know, Mom. I just worry. Your father would be proud of how you look after me, but unnecessary." I squeezed his hand. "The plants are labeled, mail is being held, and Mrs. Rodriguez will check on things. I'll be fine. Emma wanted to know if there's anything you need help with while you're gone." I hesitated at the mention of my daughter-in-law. "That's thoughtful of her." "She really does want to be closer to you," David insisted, his eyes hopeful. "We have different tastes," I said carefully, "but I appreciate the offer. She's good with design, Mom. Her Instagram following is growing like crazy." "Yes, all those minimalist white rooms." I couldn't keep the dryness from my voice. Not everyone wants to live in a showroom. David's shoulders tensed. "She's trying." "I know, honey. Tell her thank you, but everything's taken care of." The conversation shifted to his work, but I couldn't shake the uneasiness. Emma and I had maintained polite distance since she married David 3 years ago. She'd made comments about my dated decor, suggesting updates that would erase everything that made my house a home. 3 weeks later, I returned from my trip exhausted but satisfied. The taxi pulled up to my house at dusk, and something looked different. The porch light was new, a sleek black fixture where my stained glass lantern had hung. My key still worked, thankfully. I pushed open the door and froze. "Hello?" I called into the eerily unfamiliar space. "Is someone here?" My phone rang. It was Patricia, my best friend. "You're back!" she exclaimed. "How was the trip?" "Patricia," my voice shook. "Someone's been in my house. Everything's gone." "What do you mean, gone?" "My wallpaper, my furniture. It's all white and gray now. There's some kind of floating shelf where my grandmother's hutch was. My family photos are missing." "Oh my God!" Patricia's voice dropped. "Bonnie, you don't know?" "Know what?" The room seemed to tilt. "Emma's been posting the whole renovation on Instagram. Surprise makeover for mother-in-law. It's got thousands of likes." "Renovation?" I whispered, moving through rooms I no longer recognized. "Patricia, she gutted my home." "David didn't tell you? Emma said it was a gift, that you'd given permission." "Permission?" My voice cracked. Hold on, I'm coming over," Patricia said firmly. "And Bonnie, Marcus next door has been documenting everything. He knew something wasn't right." I sank onto an uncomfortable gray sofa that had replaced my worn, beloved leather one. The walls were stark white where family photos once hung. My home of 35 years had been erased, transformed into someone else's vision without a single word to me. "She's been planning this for months," Marcus explained, showing me time-stamped photos on his phone. We sat at my kitchen island, a cold marble slab where my oak table once stood. Patricia paced nearby, fuming. "The dumpster arrived the day after you left," he continued, swiping through images. "I questioned the workers, but they showed me a document with your signature." "My signature?" I leaned forward. "That's impossible. Can I see that?" Patricia took the phone, squinting at the image. "Bonnie, this looks like the permission slip you signed for David's school camping trip last month when you were watching Lily." "She used a permission slip for my granddaughter's school to authorize destroying my home?" My hands trembled. Marcus nodded grimly. "I tried calling David, but he kept saying you'd approved everything." "Where is my furniture? My photos?" My voice cracked. "My husband's armchair?" Patricia and Marcus exchanged glances. "Most of it's gone," Patricia said gently. "According to Emma's posts, she donated the outdated items to various charities." She's been documenting everything, Marcus added. Daily updates, before and afters. She called your style tragically stuck in the 80s. The doorbell rang. David stood there, flowers in hand, smile fading when he saw my expression. Mom, welcome back. Do you love... How could you? I whispered. What? Emma worked so hard on this surprise? His brow furrowed. She wanted to do something special for you. Special? My voice rose. She destroyed everything that mattered to me. That's not fair. David's defensive tone emerged instantly. This place needed updating. Emma spent weeks planning the perfect modern look. Did you help her forge my signature too? I demanded. David paled. What? No, she said you'd approved everything before leaving. I never approved anything, I said, voice shaking. David, your father's chair is gone. The wallpaper from my mother's house. Our family photos. The photos are digitized, he said quickly. Emma created a digital frame that rotates through them. And the rest? My furniture? My memories? Mom, it was just stuff. Emma says we shouldn't be so attached to material things. Patricia stepped forward. David, this wasn't Emma's house to change. She was trying to help, he insisted. You always criticize her taste. She wanted to show you how much better this could look. Better? I gestured around. This isn't my home anymore. You're overreacting, David snapped. Emma spent her own money on this. On destroying my property without permission, I corrected. Where is she? I want to hear her explain this herself. She's at our house, David said stiffly. And given how you're acting, maybe that's best. How I'm acting? I echoed incredulously. Marcus cleared his throat. David, I have documentation showing this work began without Bonnie's knowledge. Your wife appears to have forged authorization documents. David's face reddened. That's ridiculous. You've never liked Emma. I have the contractor's statement, Marcus continued calmly, and copies of Emma's social media posts where she admits Bonnie didn't know. David fell silent. Tomorrow, I said with newfound resolve, we're going to meet with Emma and discuss exactly how she plans to make this right. Patricia squeezed my hand. And I know exactly who to call about your legal options. The following morning, Emma sat across from me at the kitchen island, David beside her. Her perfect ponytail and pristine white blouse contrasted with my travel-wrinkled clothes and exhausted eyes. Patricia and Marcus flanked me like bodyguards. Bonnie, Emma began with a practiced smile. I know this is a shock, but once you live with the changes for a few days... Stop. I held up my hand. I want to understand why you believed you had the right to do this. I was helping. Emma's smile tightened. David always said you were too busy to update your home? Did I ever ask for your help? My voice remained steady. Well, no, but... Did I ever express dissatisfaction with my home? Not in those words, but anyone could see. Anyone meaning you, Patricia interjected. Emma's eyes narrowed. I don't appreciate your tone. I put thousands of dollars and weeks of work into this gift. A gift is something someone wants, I replied. This was something you wanted. David approved everything, Emma insisted, reaching for his hand. David shifted uncomfortably. I thought Mom knew the general idea. The general idea? I echoed. David, she forged my signature. That was a misunderstanding, Emma said quickly. I thought since you'd signed the permission for Lily's field trip. You used a school form to authorize destroying my home? I leaned forward. That's fraud, Emma. Destroying? Emma's voice rose indignantly. I transformed this dated disaster into a modern showcase. People are loving it online. I don't care about online, I replied. This was my home, my memories. They're just things, Emma dismissed. Material possessions shouldn't define us. Says the woman with a closet full of designer clothes, Patricia muttered. Emma ignored her. Bonnie, I understand you're upset about the surprise element, but look at the quality of what I've done. What you've done is remove 35 years of my life without permission, I said evenly. My husband's chair, my mother's wallpaper, my photographs. They're all on the digital frame. Emma insisted. It's more efficient. Where are my things, Emma? I demanded. She glanced at David before answering. Most were donated. Some were beyond saving. Beyond saving? My voice caught. Who made you the judge of that? Mom, David interrupted. Emma made some mistakes in how she went about this, but her intentions were good. Intentions don't restore my home, I replied, or excuse forgery. Forgery is a strong word. Emma's voice hardened. I was doing you a favor that most women your age would appreciate. Most women my age appreciate having their choices respected, I countered. I've been documenting this whole transformation, Emma said, pulling out her phone. Over 10,000 likes. People love what I've done. Those people don't live here. I do. I stood up. And I want everything restored. Emma laughed sharply. That's impossible. The donations are gone. The contractors have moved on. Then you'll need to compensate me for everything you've destroyed. Compensate? Emma's face flushed. I improved your property value by at least $50,000. That wasn't your decision to make, Marcus interjected. Legally, this constitutes property damage and potential fraud. Emma stood abruptly. Are you threatening me? I'm explaining consequences, I replied calmly. David, are you going to let them talk to me this way? Emma demanded. David looked torn. Emma, you should have told Mom explicitly what you planned. So you're taking her side? Emma's voice rose. After everything I've done for your family? This isn't about sides, I said. It's about respecting boundaries. Boundaries? Emma scoffed. You're just resistant to change, stuck in the past with your dusty old furniture and outdated wallpaper. That dusty old furniture included the last chair my husband sat in before he died, I said quietly. That outdated wallpaper was from my childhood home. Emma rolled her eyes. There's medication for unhealthy attachments to objects, you know. The room fell silent. Get out of my house, I said softly. This is ridiculous! Emma grabbed her purse. I did you a favor, and this is how you thank me? By threatening legal action? It's not a threat, Patricia said, placing a business card on the counter. My daughter's law firm specializes in property disputes. They'll be contacting you tomorrow. You'll regret this, Emma hissed, moving toward the door. I have thousands of followers who will hear exactly how ungrateful you are. Document everything for the lawyers, she added, slamming the door behind her. David stood awkwardly. Mom, she really did think... David, I interrupted gently. I love you, but you need to leave now too. The insurance company has agreed to cover most of the restoration costs. Jane Bennett, Patricia's daughter and now my attorney, explained as we sat in her office 3 weeks later. Emma's documented social media posts made our case quite straightforward. She's still posting about it, Patricia remarked, scrolling through her phone, though the comments have definitely turned against her. The contractor has also provided a full statement, Jane continued, confirming the forged documentation and that he was misled about having proper authorization. What happens to Emma? I asked, not out of concern, but curiosity. She's facing potential charges for fraud and property damage, Jane replied. The DA is considering the case now. At minimum, she'll be responsible for costs not covered by insurance, plus potential punitive damages. And David? I couldn't keep the worry from my voice. Jane's expression softened. That's between you and him. Legally, he wasn't directly involved in the forgery, though he benefited from remaining willfully ignorant. The door opened, and Marcus entered with coffee for everyone. Since the incident, he'd become an unexpected ally and friend. Sorry I'm late, he said, distributing the cups. Had to finish uploading the latest documentation for the insurance company. You've been incredibly helpful, Jane acknowledged. Your photographs established a clear timeline. I knew something wasn't right, Marcus shrugged. Neighbors look out for each other. My phone buzzed. David again. I'd limited our communication to text messages about practical matters. He wants to meet, I sighed. Says Emma's agreed to a formal apology. Patricia scoffed. Only because her influencer career is tanking. Her sponsors dropped her after the story broke. Are you willing to meet with them? Jane asked carefully. With David, I clarified. Not Emma. 2 days later, David sat across from me at a coffee shop downtown, looking haggard. Emma's been served with the lawsuit, he began awkwardly. Yes, I nodded. Jane mentioned that would happen this week. Mom, she wants to apologize, make things right. I sipped my tea before responding. An apology doesn't restore what was lost. She understands that now, he insisted. Her social media career is ruined. Her design clients have canceled. We're struggling financially with the legal fees. Actions have consequences, I said simply. She's still your daughter-in-law, he pressed. We're family. Family respects boundaries, I replied. Emma violated mine in the most fundamental way possible. She made a mistake. A mistake is accidentally breaking a vase, I countered. She systematically destroyed my home while I was away, documented it for public entertainment, and forged documents to do so. David slumped in his chair. What do you want from us? I want what the lawsuit outlines, I explained calmly. Full financial compensation and legal accountability. And our relationship? His voice cracked slightly. Will you ever forgive her? I considered my words carefully. Forgiveness isn't required for moving forward. I love you, David. You'll always be my son, but Emma and I will have a formal, distant relationship from now on. She's my wife, he protested. Yes, and that puts you in a difficult position, I acknowledged. One she created. Later that evening, Patricia, Marcus, and I sat on my porch. The restoration work had begun inside, but would take months to complete. David thinks I should forgive and forget, I told them, watching the sunset. For family harmony. Harmony at the expense of justice isn't harmony, Patricia remarked. It's subjugation. Marcus nodded. Some boundaries, once crossed, change relationships permanently. I never thought my relationship with my son would become so complicated, I admitted. You're standing up for yourself, Patricia reminded me. That's something to be proud of. The contractors found some of the original wallpaper fragments, Marcus mentioned. They think they can recreate the pattern. It won't be the same, I said softly. But it will be mine again, my choice. My phone buzzed with a text from Jane. Settlement offer received. They're accepting all terms. I showed the others, a weight lifting slightly. So what now? Marcus asked gently. Now I rebuild, I replied, looking at my partially restored home. Not just the house, but my sense of security, my boundaries. And David? Patricia asked. That's up to him, I said. I've made my position clear. I won't have Emma in my home again, but I'll always have room for him. Do you think people understand why you couldn't just forgive and move on? Marcus wondered. I considered the question carefully. Would you forgive someone who erased your memories and violated your most personal space? Or would you make sure they faced the consequences of their actions?